Hi. Yeah, I can talk about fun Tony in a minute, that's fine. That's good. Fun's good.
Fun's good.
I'm from the Friends of Levenshulme community campaign, which is a massive campaign in Levenshulme, full of wonderful, fantastic, brilliant, creative people. We're sat over there. Point them out. And this campaign has a slogan called for public services and no to privatisation. And the reason that this campaign came together last year is because residents in Levenshulme and Gorton South got absolutely fed up of what the council were not doing in our area. For example, in a short period of time, they bulldozed our community centre, closed our playgroup, our pensioners' lunch club, left our swimming bath to rot, privatised our local state nursery and children's centre, tried to sell off every park and piece of green space that they could, and promoted in our area only street wardens, litter collection, alligating and ASBOs. That's their vision. Then they promised Levenshulme and Gorton a 10-year vision for us people. And this is what they said. You people need gentrification. That's what you need. And in fact, we're not giving you any money. We'll give you private companies in a Section 106. Section 106 your brain. What that means is that the big companies promise you a bit of a community space, and for that they get a massive piece of land. Now in Burnage, in Tesco's, did a Section 106 to build a new GP centre. Well, of course they've not built it, they built houses instead. And do you know why? They have to pay a small fine to council. Slap on hand, that's it. So this community came together in response to what the council were trying to do. And we really have some of the biggest protests and demos in Levenshulme and in the city centre that has been seen for a long time. We've had fun days, we've built cardboard community centres, we've had activities, music, fun and games, and it's rallied people together. And in fact this culminated last November with Richard Leese, who was the leader of the council, coming to a question and answer session in Levenshulme. And as usual, we got 350 people to our public meeting. And he walked in with his little leather jacket as a man of the people. And he came to the table and he said to these people who turned out in November, "Hello, I'm Richard Leese, and I'm glad you're looking after Levenshulme, because nobody else is." Well, we knew that already. That's why we're trying to do something about it. But what I wanted to talk about just for a few minutes, really, to kind of pin into what people have said, based on the campaigning we've done, is that how the council's vision and politics of privatisation are really now seriously affecting our communities in the way that you're talking about in Salford. The tactics that they are using and how we might do something about it. Well, as we probably all know, Manchester's vision is, as other people have spoken about, it means a city centre replete with moneyed individuals and big business. And this serves to reinforce the idea that only the wealthy are welcome. But it also masks, absolutely, the council's contempt for ordinary people, and this is why. Because every time a community resource or public service is privatised, what the council do is say, well, you know, it's really for the collective public good, and therefore they cover up the facts of what they're doing and they distract us. And I want to give a concrete example. In Levenshulme, our campaign group absolutely opposed Sure Start coming to our area. Now, there are lots of reasons for this. But one of the main drivers was it meant the wholesale privatisation of the only children's centre in the area. Now, it was a tough campaign, this campaign, because we had to tell people what the truth was, expose it. Because when people see the name Sure Start, they think, oh, that's great, that's the kind of services under fives need. Okay? What the council didn't tell people is that it had been privatised. And the company is the big life company in Longside. They use volunteers to run creches and keep it under the Ofsted rule. There's no safety. They use shaky church halls where there's no safety. They have low-paid staff that put council workers out of jobs. And they offer very bad quality childcare. Now, we didn't win that battle physically, the thing's going ahead. But what we did do is win it in public debate. So much so that the council would not come to one of our public consultation meetings, but wrote snidey letters to us in the press. But we've won the battle. But they continue in our area, as they do in Manchester, to privatise all our resources in order to help those who will profit, cream it off the top, as you say, and just pretend that they're providing public services for all. And when they do it, they have that card up their sleeve that other people have alluded to. If there is any anger or discontent, they do what they always do. They blame someone else. Do you know what it is to blame for our communities being in a mess? It's the mentally ill, it's the Muslims, it's the disabled, it's the asylum seekers, it's the unemployed, it's the feckless parents, it's the single mothers, it's black people, it's people with guns, it's people with drugs. It's nothing to do with the council. And that's how they distract us. OK, that's how they do it. And we have to think about how they do it. It's because the very public services and community resources privatised first are the ones that the most vulnerable people use. And then, when they turn what is supposed to be for the collective good into private profit, make it inaccessible for vulnerable people, they turn round and say, you know those feckless people, the feckless because they're not using these wonderful services that we're supplying, and they mask it again, the real content that they have. And they think, therefore, the council, that no one will raise an eyebrow or blink an eye if all they're doing is privatising bit by bit. Sure start, nobody will care. Things for asylum seekers, nobody cares. Well, actually, people do care, and we found that out. And one of the reasons the council have got away with it, we think, for a long time, is the tactics they use. It's not just about distracting us. They use the idea of individual morality to beat up the community with a big morality stick by saying it's somebody else to blame. And I want to give a couple of examples. In my ward, Gorton South, we have one of the biggest problems with child poverty in the country, let alone Manchester. OK? Now, in fact, in my son's school, they give fluoride in the milk because there is 80% tooth decay for under 5s. But what they don't talk about when they're doing that is what John says, it's actually poor housing that's the problem, so they sell the council houses and put fluoride in the milk. It's like putting a sticking plaster on a shark bite. And the other thing, you cannot get an NHS dentist in Gorton. In fact, you'd be better with it looking for a hen's tooth. I've considered getting hen's teeth myself, because at least my vet would treat me then, because I can't get a dentist. No, what the council do is blame the children and the feckless parents. ASBOs, massive rate of ASBOs, OK, in Gorton. And again, they blame the children. They don't talk about that there's not a blade of grass, as one parent said to me last week, or a youth club within 2.5 miles of the council estate. There's nothing. It's been privatised. It's gone. No, no, no. As Councillor Curley says, I'd love to meet that man. Give me that man. He said, do you know what? The reason we give ASBO to children in Gorton, do you want to know why? Because we're a moral and caring council. We're giving children a second chance. Well, it's not good enough, actually. Let's have a first chance. Let's have the proper education and health and youth services that our children absolutely need. And that's why I think, though, that the council keep getting away with it, because they're talking up morals and blaming other people. They talk about how it's individual deviance and immorality that's to blame again and again and again. And that's why they say communities don't flourish. It's nothing to do with privatised services. They're great. It's your fault. OK? And that's how they're working. Now then, in fact, it's worked to an extent, probably because over time we have become, over years, I'm going to talk about oppression, Tony, sorry. Fun and oppression together. We have become pushed into becoming asocial in this country. Not antisocial, asocial. They fragment us. They divide us up. So we're reduced to the only connections we have with each other is a handshake or a wave or fear as we're walking through the streets in case somebody with a hoodie gets us. I mean, that's what it's become, those kind of connections. And what we found from campaigning is, in fact, that when we come together, in, as you say, in these different ways, not only do we expose what the council are doing, but we're exposing the tactics they are using. And in fact, I think we have to tackle the way we are being divided in order not just to expose how profit is being put completely before people globally, as well as in our own local community, but the fact that we can then not just reject, as we have in Levenshulme, their privatisation policy. But what's also happened in Levenshulme is we have rejected their flaky tactics of a flaky kind of immorality and showed that there are more similarities between us than differences. So when somebody says to me, I have a bit of sympathy with the idea that we're going to make single parents go to work from next year. After all, they don't pay tax. Well, yes, they do, people. They pay VAT, and it's very high. They pay high council rates. So basically, I just think really what I want to say to end with is, I think the fight we all face is to expose not just what the council are doing, not just how they're doing it through their processes, but how they are getting away with it by dividing us. And I think we do need to come together. And we need to reverse the asocial Disneyland that they're offering us and ask for the resources that we not only need, but we bloody well deserve. Thank you.